All right, I think we're live. So my name is Sam Irvin, and I'm in Irvin Music Studio, my home studio in Asheville, North Carolina. My small business offers private lessons in guitar and trumpet, and I have a ukulele student and a couple of drum students, and love synthesizers too. And I also offer some sound production or just music production services, including video or coaching, songwriting coaching, that sort of stuff. It is October 5th, and it's sweater weather, although it's sort of hot down here with all the lights going on for this live stream. Thanks for joining us. This is 8 Note. Still no sign, but eventually a neon sign will be here saying 8 p.m. note. I feel like some of the gist is lost without that PM in there. It is 8 p.m. Well, we're starting a little late, a few minutes late, but it's no matter because it was worth setting up the insane amount of gear for this chat with this special guest that I have on today. He's a great saxophonist, a fellow music teacher, and an improv enthusiast. To a pretty extreme level. I'm excited to talk about all the gear that's over there. I think about these preambles all week, like, what silly stuff can I say up front of the show? Or how much background do I need to give on why I'm doing this? This is number 34, I believe. And I've only missed 1 week. So coming up, over half of the year. Season 2 is coming, I think a lot of the kinks are being worked out. Hopefully I'm not muted at the moment. All right, getting a shake of the head over there. That's probably a good sign. Let's see. So if you're watching this on Instagram, this is, I just put this interview portion up via my phone. It's harder to stream using the software that I use to stream on everything else. And if you're watching on any other platform like Twitter or Twitch or Facebook, hop on over to my YouTube channel. I think that's going to be the primary one going forward. And I can also see like your chat messages and stuff on YouTube. So Instagram's great and stuff, but YouTube I think is where it's at. So I think it's about time to get this show on the road. We're going to chat for an hour, jam for an hour, put the studio to use, and carve out some time in my life for some community and some creativity. And today I'm doing that with Jason Moore. Why don't you come on over? With... Oh, click the little circle button. This guy. Yes, Jason Moore, come on down.
That's what you get for putting me in charge of my own walk-on music.
It's good. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. You are the third guest with the music, and it hasn't worked out yet. So I think I'm gonna get it one of these days. I'm excited to have the music because it's even the the endearing awkwardness of us making it work is so much better than the silence that had ensued.
Yeah.
After inviting somebody up.
You gotta have the things.
Speaking of silence, I'm going to do the traditional check and see if our words are being heard. It sounds good.
Looks like it's
Oh, we got bumped, I believe. Shoop.
That's probably my fault.
It's okay. We made it. We're over here. We're together on Wednesday. I asked you to do this a long time back, I think.
Yeah.
That's great, and I'm glad you're here. You said you've watched a couple of these?
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm enjoying checking it out. I was just saying to Sam a minute ago that your consistency with it is really that's impressive to me. It's not an easy thing to create something for other people to check out, something that you're like wanting to obviously already do, like you said, create create community around music here in Asheville, but also kind of open the window for other people to check out what you've got going on. It's a lot of work. And so, yeah, I'm pretty thrilled to be here and check out what you're doing.
Well, thanks. It only is possible with guests to make it all worth it. Primarily, I think it's a conversation. Like, I want to get to know you and chat gear and be fun together. And then I think me broadcasting it just gives me that comfort of productivity in the modern age.
I hear it. Yeah, I hear it.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks for coming on. The consistency is sort of automatic because you start booking out in advance, and right now I'm booked through, halfway through November. I try to stay like a month and a half out, but as musicians, we have to book way farther out than that.
Yeah.
What about you? What's your year looking like? What's like the farthest thing away that you have?
Well,
off the top of your head.
Nice touch.
Hydration's important.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have a wedding booked in May of 2023, and I think that's as far out as I am right now.
Yeah.
I'm kind of slowing down with that anyway. To speak to like more creative endeavors, I'm trying to do just less saying yes to every playing opportunity because of the financial plus that I get from it, and do more of just the music that I want to do. As far as performing goes, I love teaching. I'll try to teach anybody. Like I just really love that process. I love finding the way that a person learns and helping them to kind of unlock that for themselves. So on the other side of that, I'm studying some other things so that I can make money doing that, so that I can take the financial burden off of performing and just perform the way I want to.
Yeah, that's cool. That's the trick. Yeah, I wanted to start doing music full time, not to run a business necessarily, but to hone my skills by thinking about music all the time and talking about music and hopefully playing music all the time, in order to have more adept articulation when I came to the creative process.
Yep.
But unfortunately, time is the most precious resource, I think it can really slip away when you're saying yes to everything.
For sure. And I'm not the best. I'm really good at creating systems to stay organized. I'm not really good at committing to those systems. And so that's why I'm so impressed with the consistency of this show, this stream. Just because setting it up is one thing, but continuing is another. And for me, that's my struggle. And there are certain things that I've found that ability to remain consistent, or the discipline to remain consistent, music being one of them, the main one, that has taught me all about what that brings a person.
Yes.
But in business is super hard, and it takes a lot of effort, which takes away from me spending that time on the music, which is what taught me about that commitment in the first place. And continues to teach me more about it. So yeah, I'm just looking at other options.
That's cool. I'm sort of curious as to what those are, but I'm also curious. You've got such a dulcet tone of your speaking voice, so I want to make sure that we are coming through here, and make sure that I don't need to turn up this mic. We should have had you set up with a mic to sing into later. I mean, or just talk poetry over.
Nice touch. Lock that for
Oh yeah, okay. You sound totally audible. That's good.
Quite dulcet.
Absolutely. It was just so low. I was wondering if it was carrying over there.
So yeah, I mean, I'm studying software development. You said you're interested in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just looking to do something else that feels creative to me, that kind of scratches some of the same itches as music does, and that I can kind of just put over there in the work drawer and
Mm-hmm.
and then just play with music. I've been doing music only as my means of income for long enough now that I've proven to myself that I can do it and I can support my family that way. But I mean, as you know, as like a musician and a small business owner, like the the wave, you know, it's like sometimes you're doing great and sometimes it dips, like the cash flow, you know.
It's very
And
unpredictable.
I'm trying to find a way to control that a little better, you know,
Yeah.
just because I got a family, you know.
I was about to, yeah, finding that work-life balance.
Shouts out to Rose and Julia.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, oh, we could have acted like they were right over there.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for coming out. Um, who knows what's over off camera to the audience. Yeah, I'm obviously not there yet with the family situation, but I would imagine, I mean, just the time commitment you want to be with your family and your
Yeah.
child, you know.
Yeah.
And like it's difficult to just as a myself do the business thing and find time to practice as much as I would want to, you know, be playing music.
100%. Yeah. I mean, I I am a practicer. Like I love to practice, and left to my own devices, I would just do it all day, like in some way, like whether I'm playing saxophone or just learning something about music, or you know, I would go through some part of that process all day long, and yeah, the more other responsibilities creep in, the less you get to do that. But on the other side of it, I was just saying this to my student earlier this morning, is like I've become a far more efficient practicer.
Yeah.
I get a lot done in a short amount of time, and I have been able to like flex the retainment aspect of that, of like getting really good work done, but also getting to a point where I don't just forget it the next day or whatever. I don't really know how I've done that, but it's working, so I'm happy with it.
Yeah, it's hard to hold it. I've been trying to work on my memorization because I haven't prioritized that in a long time. I just have sheet music everywhere I go.
Mm-hmm.
There's no real incentive for me to do that, but you know, I figure after having conversations with other musicians talking about internalizing the music a lot more, you know, I want to build that skill, and it is difficult to not just lose it after a couple of days, whatever it is
Yeah,
I'm memorizing.
for sure. Well, and you play a lot of like really intricate stuff, right? Like a lot of the classical guitar stuff. Like if you're memorizing that, you're not just memorizing a song form or something. You're memorizing a lot of very specific things that have to go this way, right?
Yeah, just a little tiny technical moment after a little tiny technical
Mm-hmm.
moment. Yeah, which is nice in a way because it's all locked in, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult to maybe start in the middle of it, you know. If I lose it, if
I
you
see.
lose the flow, you know.
Uh-huh.
But I think you do this, and then the only next thing that can happen is this if you've
Uh-huh.
memorized it, you know. Um, but I don't know. Even like jazz forms is another one. I know Bill Beers does this. Well, it's a team effort at Gigi's Underground.
Mm-hmm.
Their like jazz workshop.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have the tunes memorized to go play. And it's daunting to me to even have that a short little melody like that.
That one was really scary for me for a long time. I was definitely a bring the book to the gig person, because I'm like, up until I graduated from undergrad, classical music was the thing that I was doing. So,
Mm-hmm.
and it was I never made it to the point where it was really important to be memorizing. Like I wasn't performing concertos with a chamber orchestra or something, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So So I was always reading, and uh, so when I stepped into learning how to play jazz and improvise and learn song forms and stuff, I couldn't get off of that crutch. Um, Even though like I probably had a lot of that stuff memorized and didn't even realize it. I just needed the prop in a way. Like I needed the crutch there, and then started. I found a way to practice that showed me what memorizing was compared to what I thought it was. You were talking about like internalizing the music, learning to hear it, not to remember it, if that makes sense. Like hear the motion of the tune and that's the tune instead of it being like a list of letters or something in my mind, which is what I was trying for a while and why I couldn't do it. So then even after that, even after I was good on that, I still just couldn't let go of that like artifact of having the book on the gig. And then one day I was playing with Mike Holstein, the guy I play with quite a lot. Shouts out to Mike.
With me, him.
Yeah, me, him, yeah. And I was playing with him a lot before we started doing that side of things of just fully improvised sets together. And we were doing a lot of his original music, mine, and some jazz tunes that we like. And he's just never on the book, to the point where Mike doesn't even know the song that you're playing, and he'll just say, "Just do it. Let's just do it. Let's just do it." And he'll just hear what you're doing, and he's gonna make it sound good. Period. And there's no fear behind it. There's no like, oh, I think I can make it. Like he's just like, let's go. And it's not that he's like just so experienced with playing that type of song that he's going to make it sound like that type of song. It's going to be something new because he's listening to right now. And that made me start realizing what we're really doing. like we're not reproducing all the time. Like we're taking something that we have spent time with for sure, but we're creating it right now. We're not recreating the idea of it. It's not up here on top of us, basically, and we have to live up to it. It's more like it's kind of like down here underneath us, supporting us to do what's right now. What I mean is like the song form. So like it's not the scale in the sky by which we have to judge ourselves.
Right.
It's more like it's this foundation that we build on top of, and maybe what we build doesn't look much like what you thought it would looking at that foundation. That's why we're here. It's like we want to find out. I like above all, I think what's important to me as an improviser is finding out. Like I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to say like, okay, we're gonna play in this key or whatever. Like as soon as people start doing that, like I just like just I just don't want to do that. It's like the music hasn't started yet. We haven't found out what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Because you don't know if that's what you're gonna do. That might be your intention, but there's 6 more of us here or whatever. So so playing with him really kind of helped me to see that can be done to a very high level. And so I just stopped bringing the book. I just stopped bringing it. And we just started playing improvised sets and working our way into tunes that we know or don't. Like I might start playing a tune and he doesn't even know what it is. He'll ask me later, what was that? Or I'll ask him because I can tell it was a tune and I'm doing something. Now, I think my job is a lot easier than his because I'm not accompanying, I'm not playing harmony, so I can get by with playing like supporting lines and, you know, single note things. Sometimes I'll catch two notes on a synth or something and make something that sounds pretty good. I think the job that y'all do is terrifying.
The harmony, yeah. I think well, you just laid down a lot, and I'm excited to talk about. I think I completely agree with like that it's inevitable, like whatever you're doing as a performer is going to be inevitably fresh, and you sort of have to embrace that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I you know, I'm not like a classical guitarist who's played classical guitar my entire life. Similarly, it was like right at the end of undergrad that I got into classical guitar.
Oh, cool.
So sort of like, you know,
Yeah.
the other direction. And so when I play Bach, it's not like dictated by like all the fingerings in the chart, you know, like all of this recipe or prescription that more long-term classical guitarists might be like beholden to. And I like playing Bach like in a sort of rubato, more romantic style,
Mm-hmm.
you know, which is apparently the way people played Bach whenever he was having a resurgence, you know, and when Mendelssohn was repopularizing him.
Okay.
Um, and it wasn't until later that people are like, no, Baroque music should sound like it sounded in the Baroque era,
Uh-huh.
you know. But I'm all, or you know, I play often with violinists, you know, who are more in the classical vein. And we're busting out the jazz charts for cocktail hour, and it becomes this sort of like third stream set, you know, like
Yeah.
half classical, half jazz sort of
Yeah.
sounding, with me like arpeggiating the accompaniment like a little bit more. I really like feeling that out. But there's a lot of tools that I'm using to do that, you know, a lot of vocabulary from
Mm-hmm.
those
Mm-hmm.
genres. But I think like to execute, you know, to just go in there and like not be afraid and to make what like intentional decisions in the
Mm-hmm.
moment. You have to be really well acquainted with your instrument and know what it's going to do,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to execute that what you hear,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I sometimes think, you know, and what do you think about this? Like as a teacher, I get on to my students about looking for the notes. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I try to get them to be thoughtful about the note.
Uh-huh.
Like, why are you looking for the note? You know, because they are using their ear to instead of sight reading or something.
Right.
You know, to try to find that note, which means that they play like, you know, 10 bad notes before they finally get to each note.
Uh-huh.
And I sort of discourage that. But I wonder if, you know, that's what you have to do a lot of to get to that point where you can hear the music.
Uh-huh. Well, yeah. I'm interested in what leads to that activity. Like what you're doing with or what they think they're trying to do that leads them to searching that way. Like I try to set it up where I mean it's all like a game for me. I mean I teach people the way that I practice it. So the idea is like you learn the root motion first. You learn to sing it. And that's the tune. If you study a little bit, I mean it depends on how young they are, but uh most of my students that are learning anything about improvisation are like they're at a maturity level where they can deal with learning something about chords and so we learn a little bit about diatonic harmony, and then if you learn the root motion and you learn to kind of analyze how it is operating diatonically, then you know the rest of the chord. Like so you take that and just put restrictions on it. Like, okay, I'm gonna take a solo, but I'm only allowed to play 2 notes per chord and I'm choosing from the triad.
Yeah.
Okay, so there it is. 2 notes per chord. I'm choosing from the triad, and maybe that sounds like uh, you can repeat notes and make more rhythm happen, but usually it's way more remedial than that too. It's like if we're taking a 2 notes per chord solo, then mostly you need to play half notes,
Yeah.
and then maybe you need a quarter note to move your line forward. And uh, most of the time they try that first, and they're like, okay, I could kind of, they can kind of do it. By that point, but by the time we get there, they can kind of do it, but they're not very thrilled about it. And I say, okay, now I'm going to do it. I'm going to do the same thing. Same exact thing. I have the same notes. And I've done that long enough that I can make something that to me feels and sounds just as good as any other music that I make. Like, sure, I might want more. I might want to do more. But that feeling is the very feeling that I'm always looking for anyway. It's like, I want to want more. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be inspired by something that I just heard myself do so that I can do more. So if I feel that way, then the exercise is successful.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah. Especially like you took it like exactly where I don't know that it makes sense to, right? It's a bit of a mystery how uh or like I like that there is that mystery there of like you're hearing something and you want to turn what you're hearing into some future event, and then you have to sort of intellectualize it, but you don't want to sacrifice the flow,
Mm-hmm.
you know. I guess that's what I was getting. I think it does become sort of more automatic after you do it for a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it does start in this sort of stilted, thinky place.
Sure. And I mean, I build that in too to my own practice. Like, so like, I mean, if it's a brand new tune, I start in that thinky place for sure. And I try to get out of it as soon as possible, and I'm much faster at getting out of it now.
Mm-hmm.
But I still have to spend some time in that place, and that place, like, I do this like literally that place and that place, because like when I'm explaining it to people, I literally turn my body that way, and I practice that way because the physical memory of it helps me. So when I'm over here, I'm like thinking about it, and I'm gonna put I call it the facts world. I'm gonna just play the facts, and I'm gonna play the facts this way that I've decided that I'm gonna do it. So if it's the triad, I'm gonna play from the third down this time. There's my triad practice through the tune. And I do that way, feel good about it. Yes, I've got it. Okay, now I'm going to take those 3 notes and bring them over to the improvisation world, use those facts that I just practiced to improvise, but those are the only choices that I have, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm back to this one with a new set of facts, and then I'm back to this one with that set of facts improvising. So constantly taking it back and forth into like dry as possible, and now take that stuff and do something with it that is more palatable. Is it ever like solo quality? Not really. I mean, not like, because it's so decided, right? It's like, it's so restricted. And, you know, when I start breaking my restrictions, it's like either I'm done, like either it's like, okay, I'm losing focus, or the opposite, like actually I'm really hearing this stuff because I've been practicing it, and it's causing me to want more, and I'm going to let it happen once every 8 bars or something, and just deal with it, and then return to the intention, because that's part of it too, is like oscillating from whatever you intend to hold things together to whatever that brings you to, you know, but also not losing the plot once you're out on whatever edge that is, and like reaching back to like something that came before to kind of ground you.
Yeah, definitely. That feeling of returning is such a resolution.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really challenging to listen to music that doesn't resolve.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have like a go-to at this advanced level? Do you have like just a pattern of scales and the scalar exercises that you do to warm up like all the time? Or have you sort of given that like repetitive sort of fundamentals a rest?
I mean, I would say that when I'm practicing, it's always fundamentals. Like, I try to be as remedial as possible, and try to love it. Like, try to truly get excited about literally just getting to like how I bring myself to just producing a sound. Like, if I can get super thrilled about that, then it's a good day, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's all I get to do for the day, that's great. Um, but yeah, as far as like scales and patterns and stuff, I'll do some of that. Like,
Wait, can I stop you?
yeah,
Uh, I think that's an interesting sort of topic, like cultivating appreciation. Do you find any patterns of like stuff in your life? Of course, taking care of yourself and proper diet and spending time on healthy things and rest and stuff might inspire more creativity.
mhm.
But like going out and seeing music or staying in, do you find like anything personally that might be music adjacent that helps you feel more excited? Do you
Hmm.
go on walks and try to feel excited about the leaves and then find that it's easier to be excited about a simple scale in the sax?
Okay, that's heavy. Um, I want to really like dive in and say yes. I want to, but I want to say that like when I'm talking about fundamentals, uh, it's probably different than the fundamentals that a lot of people would talk about. Like, I don't play a lot of scales. I have done a lot of that in my life, but like I don't use that as an ingredient, like as an improviser. Like, I'm never thinking of scales. Like, what chord to play on. I mean, what scale to play on what chord. Like, I'm never thinking that way. Like, I'm thinking more vertically than that. Uh, when I'm thinking about it. Best case scenario, I'm just trying to sound good.
Mm, yeah.
But where are my extra musical things that I'm kind of drawing from? I mean, sure, like just feeling good. It's hard. Like
Absolutely, yeah.
it's hard to do like out here in the world. And so just really noticing when I do, like noticing like I feel good right now and trying to express that in whatever way. So if I'm with a friend, telling them like I'm that guy like, hey, this is fun.
Yeah.
And it's like, yo, like maybe like it's almost like saying like, all right, we're gonna play in B flat, like like I was saying earlier, except it's the emotional equivalent of that.
Yeah.
It's like
Like
I will
let's
do
have
that.
fun right now.
Not let's do it, but like we're doing that. Like we're having fun right now, or I am. I really like to call it out. I really like to just say, because it helps me. Some people it makes them uncomfortable to do that, but like with my son, he's 6, and I just try to tell him like, man, this is the best moment I've had all day right here. Like we're just chilling in the backyard, just telling him that, or and it's. I mean, he doesn't care. Like he's having a great time no matter if I say it or not. But the exercise for me to notice it, I think that helps me in music 100%, because it just reminds me to look. You
Yeah.
know?
That's some wise stuff for sure. I think it's easy to get dragged down and bogged down, in tasks or what needs to be done, or wanting more than that feeling of good. This is good right
Mhm.
now, wanting like exhilaration or like some sort of avalanche of creativity. But it can start at just playing a note.
Yeah. So what about you, man? Like, so it's gonna take a second for me to get to the words to ask basically the same question that you just asked,
Take
but
your time, yeah.
But like, how are you managing all of that, but also being in the room? You know, like, how are you managing all of what you have to manage as a musician, as a guitar player, or whatever you're playing? You play like 500 things. But like, how are you managing all of that to keep it together and to accomplish whatever you think you should because of your job and whatever, and also being present? Like, I'm thinking like for a wedding or something, like something that it's a moment, you know, it's a thing that's important to people, what you're doing. Like, you're playing an important role in somebody's life. And to set that moment off, you can't just be thinking about all of the stuff you have to do. Like, you got to
Yeah.
also be there, right? So what do you do?
I I think that you're right that that's a great example that like that's an important moment. And not just a wedding, but I think music is really important to people, you know. Like people, maybe not kids, they're coming to their lesson. They're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
this is another
Yeah.
thing I have to do."
Yeah.
But especially like adults who or like anybody who's eager to like learn from you, you know. Um uh I think it's important like I sort of feed off of that idea that I'm doing something that's
Hmm.
meaningful.
Hmm.
And I thank, you know, each wedding client in those words specifically. Like, it's great, you know, I'm happy to make a career out of music, which I like music a lot. But it's even better to be able to, like, perform at these significant occasions where I have, like, some, like, impact with the music, you
Yeah.
know, where I put that music to some kind of use.
Hmm.
So maybe some sort of pragmatism, you know, if I can get in touch with that, like what am I actually doing right now?
Hmm.
Um, that can take me out of it though too. You know, like what am I, like if I'm jamming on this live stream, you know, like what am I doing? You know, who's watching this or like what groove am I laying down for my guest? Am I propping them up the way that they need? You
Hmm.
know, um, I think that pressure can be distracting, you know? I think I've recently, you know, and I'm 31, so maybe I've crossed a certain threshold or whatever, but I've found that like quiet time is amazing for me, and I
Yeah.
need more of it than I've ever could imagine that I would need, you know? I used to have like a podcast going on or like an audiobook or, you know, something uh, just bombarding me with like content constantly.
Uh,
Um, but now, um, or like even music, I don't know if you get stimulated by music like in your life, but it's difficult for me to focus like on a task if I've got music playing.
yeah, I barely listen to music
Yeah,
because of that. Like,
exactly. Same.
I have to just do it. Like, if I'm doing it, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, like driving is fine
Yeah.
because you know, driving, I'm not
Uh,
doing anything else but like responding to emails, listening to music. That's
mhm.
absurd. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, I've cultivated other you know practices. I swim uh, like a lot, like every
Mhm.
day, and that's I could get headphones for that are waterproof, but I've decided to like um, just maintain that quiet time.
Yeah.
You know, of a couple of hours every morning, and so that quiet sort of allows me to. It's like almost more stimulating. Like the world
Mm.
is more stimulating once I've allowed myself that time to get in touch with myself.
Hmm.
And again, like what I sort of started out saying or responding to you is like just feeling good. I think that's very difficult for people to do in this day and age, or I don't know. It seems like uh, a popular challenge, you know, with people that I know
Hmm.
to just be content,
Yeah.
or maybe not even this day and age.
Yeah, or even just like, I guess really what I was eventually kind of trying to meander my way toward too is like, I don't necessarily mean good as in like this type of good, uh, but I mean like feeling like the act of it, like doing that well,
Uh,
like doing feeling well,
Dude, yes.
you know, like, so noticing how I feel.
Yeah, or do you think acceptance, that word acceptance,
I
think
mean, sure,
is
yeah.
strong with
Yeah, I mean, like if I notice it at all, for me, like it's a miracle. Like I'm lucky to know how I felt yesterday is kind of my joke.
Yeah.
Like and I mean I'm doing better with that than ever, but like that's the struggle for me is just noticing in the first place. So accepting it is like that's like 10 years down the road. Talk to me later.
Yeah.
You know?
That's funny. Like, and we don't have to go too far down this road, but like, did you find that you like had numbing behaviors, like listening to podcasts constantly? Like, that seemed to be a numbing sort of activity for me. Or
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think that's probably pretty common for everybody, but for me it was more just like I just placed that focus externally, like and not really on other things or stimuli, but other people. Like I was more concerned with how those around me were feeling and trying to like some weird ego trip, I guess, in a weird way that doesn't really serve anybody, like figure out how to take care of that, like how to take care of somebody else, you know. And
mm-hmm.
where that shows up musically is really interesting, right? Is like you were saying, like am I doing the right thing to prop this person up? It's like maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe you should just take care of yourself, and then like if you do that really honestly, then that leaves the space for them to do that too. And maybe that's really what we need. You know, I don't mean like take care of yourself, like be self-serving, like and like
Right.
like just play your stuff. Like there's vulnerability in truly taking care of yourself the way you need it in a moment. It's like vulnerability comes with that territory. So then that opens the door for us to do something together. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I do definitely. I think like as an artist or a performer, getting in touch with that vulnerability is crucial, I
Yeah.
think, on some level, you know. Um, do you do you I guess I'll pose it as a question. Do you think as a musician that matters to you anymore or less, or like that you have a different perspective on like that, you know, struggle to like feel more consistently, or vice versa? Does it have no, I don't want to vice versa. Do you think that music has impacted you in a giving you more tools or inspiration?
Sure. I mean, I think that music is the place where I've had any success with it ever. And I think music is the place that kind of clued me into the idea that maybe I might be able to do it elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that it started there for me. Like music taught me more about being a human than anything else. Like, or this human, you know. And so yeah, I think it starts there for me, and then when I don't feel uh, as what did I say a minute ago that I thought was funny? Like when I'm not feeling as well,
You're not doing the feeling.
doing the feeling as well.
Yes.
When I'm not doing feeling as well, uh, elsewhere in life, I would be like, gosh, I just want to like I wish I could just be playing music or just, like I wish I could be doing that other thing where I can tune in, you know?
Yeah.
Uh, and so then for a while, it's like, okay, we'll just go do more of that. And then after a while, you get other responsibilities. You can't just go and do that. And you're like, wait a second, I'm missing a step here. Like, actually, the message I've been getting is like, learn how to do that thing elsewhere, you know?
To feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, without the music. Yeah, that's a good point, because I've talked to I really like the idea, I've talked to other guests about uh the like compulsory like I feel like I've just conditioned my brain to enjoy practicing, the therapeutic aspect of repeating this thing over and over again, and I had a guest recently, Evan Scott, who said like contrarily, he felt as though he had a brain that liked doing that, and so when he found drums like in high school, it gave him something to do that repetitive thing over and over again
yeah.
on. And I was like, oh, that's cool, like a little nature versus nurture thing. I certainly find myself to start getting like grumpy or sort of lost, like if I'm not practicing enough. There's like a confidence thing that comes into play, you know?
It's the whole
Like,
avalanche.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, that is the thing that I'm kind of talking about, is like when the opportunity to spend the amount of time that I was relying upon to stay feeling well,
right.
uh, uh, when other things in my life started to move into that space and were very important to me to show up for.
Right, with all the justice in the world, you know, things you appreciate and love, and
Right.
yeah,
Right. So things start taking up that space, and suddenly I don't have that crutch, right? I don't have that. I don't call it a crutch, and that's not a bad thing. Like that thing
tool.
bolstering my ability. Yeah. Like I can't explore that tool, or that mechanism by which I'm getting in touch with myself as often. Uh, like what's the what's the solve there? Wait, like it's still me. um it's still me over here doing these other things. So like how can I take what I built over there and just map it on to what I'm doing over here, you know?
Yeah. Like on a basic level, you will always be the guy who has done that life of music.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
100%.
yeah, that can never go anywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's just that music is so potent for that type of thought and process, because it asks for 100% of you. Like
Mm-hmm.
you have to really truly be there to make everything that you want to happen. You can't be divided. You can't be thinking about the next thing over there that you have to go do after. You just have to turn all that off and be there. And like I want to do that everywhere. Like I want to just be wherever it is. And
Yeah.
that's really hard for me.
It's so hard to do that self care, that like organization, because you don't want to compartmentalize stuff into places where they're bottled up, right? Or like never seen again. But I'm going through my day when I'm out and about, when I'm driving, when I'm like at the store. Oh man, I got to do this, and like put it in my phone calendar. Oh man, I got to do that. You know, it just interrupts like all of this jumble. You know, everything's sort of on top of everything else. You know,
Yeah.
but those, you know, I don't have my phone when I'm in the pool.
Yeah.
You know, or like, and we have that option other times of the day to be present, like you're saying, not just stay off our phones. That's just an example, but you know, when I'm like folding laundry, like doing the dishes, it's like,
Yeah, it's tough.
okay.
I do a lot of like doing the dishes or the laundry situation, and I am doing something else like a podcast or something. I do a lot of that, and I wind up, the task takes about twice as long as it should because I'm engaging that somehow. Uh, I could be present with the laundry or the dishes a little better, I think. But I haven't quite found like the reward behind that yet. Like I haven't.
I've got a very close friend who's been teasing me because laundry is like my happy place all of a sudden. I don't know how it happened, but just folding laundry, like in the quiet, like I'll open the windows and like hear birds or whatever. It's just like magnificent.
Yeah.
I don't know how I get there.
I want some of that.
Yeah.
I want that ability.
Highly recommend for
Yeah.
sure. But tonight we're not doing laundry. We're stuck with music.
Yeah.
And I have so much more that I wanted to dig in with you about. I mean, didn't really get much of your background, or you know, I wanted to hear more teaching technique stuff too. We didn't talk about the variety of kinds of gigs that you do, or
Oh yeah.
the creative projects that you are interested in doing more of without the, you know, financially focused gigs so much.
Yeah, I mean, most of it's probably just the same. I just will feel more comfortable for some reason without that component being the thing to worry about.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I have creative projects that are just, well, I'll get to it next week because now I got to take this paying gig, you know. Um, but what I was getting at is, would love to have you back on for season 2
Let's do it.
sometime to dig into more of that stuff. We're gonna we have just a few minutes before we're gonna take a quick break and get set up for our jam. But I would love it if you could just give me a rundown of the gear that you're about to use for the jam.
Cool. Let me figure that out loud because I forgot a crucial component that will take 2 of those things away. Okay, so I'll play a bunch of saxophone. That's going through line 6 HX effects. It's like all the helix effects in a box.
That's a really popular high-end like effects, like an all-in-one.
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of people using them since I got it. I had like one of their old, the M series. I had 2 of those at different times, and I fried one of them on a gig accidentally by plugging like the output of my amp into the input of it, like not paying attention. It was dark, and I just like, and you could smell it.
Oh man!
And so I just had to go like just dry for that gig, and I was like, well, this is old by now. I'll just buy something new, and I bought that, and it's been a tank, man. It's done a lot for me. So that's built onto a pedal board that has like patch bays that I built into it to take all the mini cables that come out to it and like cut that in half so that I have less cables to run elsewhere. And then I split them out in these little patch bays that I built once it gets to the destination. So it's like two mono signals going on one cable, and then it gets to a patch bay and splits back out into 2. So there's just a little short run that stays there plugged in all the time. So that was really a convenience that I needed for a really long time, and I recently built those, and it's made the setup much faster. So I've got an Empress Effects Zoya on there, which is this incredible little box that everybody should have if they're interested in building your own effects. Like, it's a modular synth in a box, basically.
Oh, cool.
And then the computer side is I'm running Ableton. I have the push over there, the Ableton controller, but I won't be able to use it because I've forgotten an adapter. But also have a Launchpad Pro over there that I'll be kind of using in its place. Sometimes I do some double gridding, or I'll get a sequence going on the Launchpad Pro and use the push to do more things in Ableton, so the Launchpad can control the Zoya. So it's kind of like 2 different synth worlds that can go on at once if I set it up that way. But tonight I'll have to kind of consolidate it because I forgot that piece. That's pretty much it. I mean, it's it looks scarier than it sounds actually out loud. It's not really too many components. It's a lot of controller action. There's a lot of options controller wise.
Yeah, that's great. And you've got everything coming into this interface?
Yeah. Presonus Quantum 2. It's an old thing. They don't even make it anymore. Thunderbolt interface.
Does that have anything in it? Like, is it compressing or, limiting on the way out? Or is that just consolidating all the...
Yeah, it's just sending everything to Ableton, and everything's coming out of Ableton. So, like, all of that, what do you call it? Like, signal chain stuff that will happen in Ableton.
Gotcha. Yeah. And then inside Ableton, I guess you're using all these chains that you spend a lot of time setting up. Or
actually, a lot of time I start with just a blank session and just see what happens.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because that's just where I'm at with it. Like the tech for me is like just, it's fun to just find out what's happening. I mean, I do have a couple of things that I kind of keep in the session, like a compressor on the master bus.
Yeah.
That's always there. But and I have a couple of sounds that I like to use repeatedly. Um, but a lot of times I just like to load something random and just be like, what's that do? And then make music with it. Because, like over COVID or something, like when we're all just in the house, it's nice to have like something that you don't know what it's going to do, because that's really close to like playing with somebody else, because you don't know what they're going to do, and
Yeah.
so like I'm gonna do something, and it's going to take it and do something with it that I'm not expecting, and then I have a response. So like pretty soon it's 3 hours later, and I'm
In outer space.
yeah, I'm feeling great.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I love to make a world with my giant, monstrous synth, conglomeration over there,
Mm-hmm.
and then drum with it, and that's a nice limitation because I get tired.
Yeah.
Of slamming those beats out. So I'll just push my brain to like how much of the synth can I handle, and then drum, and that's yeah, like a nice 2 or 3 hour window.
Yeah.
I wish I got that more. It was very difficult to decide what I wanted to include with you in our jam, because then you were very flexible, and very self-contained with your stuff over there, but leaving out all of the Moog effects and all of that gear and the drum set, and I'm just rocking guitar and through my board, and I've got a looper with the grandmother going into it, so I got a synth, an analog synth to play with. Maybe I should set up a mic for my trumpet too. We might get into that. But let's get into that. We're gonna take a short break. Do you have any hanging threads? Anything that you wanted to touch on that we talked about to end? Slash, do you have any upcoming gigs that you want to plug?
Do I don't think I do. I'm not booking a lot right now.
Yeah, sort of laid back myself.
Oh, you know what? I do have some. So I play with this guy, Parrish Ellis. He's this great guitar player, singer. Um, I really think of him as like an encyclopedia of certain types of music. He's a big record collector, and he's always introducing me to some other song that I've never heard, even from like, so he's got a really encyclopedic knowledge of like 50s and 60s New Orleans R&B. And I'm from Louisiana. I grew up on that stuff, so a lot of the stuff that he loves I've been hearing and playing like as long as I've been a musician. And then he'll come with something like, oh, you ever heard this? And he'll put on a record, or he'll put it in the set list or something, and it's completely new to me. So Parrish is great. He's got a band called the Big Easies, and that's like pretty strictly New Orleans R&B. We don't play as often as that group, but he and I play as a duo called Jukebox Jumpers, and I'm playing bass on Launchpad,
Okay.
and saxophone, and he plays guitar and drums with his feet and sings.
Okay.
So we make a lot of sound between the two of us, and play some nice fun music. So we are playing.
Do you loop the bass?
I don't, because I'll alternate, because Parrish has so much on his plate, singing, playing guitar, and playing drums at the same time, that adding that component of like, you have to lock in with my loop now, I just don't want to do that to him.
Yeah, definitely.
So that is the 21st and 22nd of this month. We're 21st at Ginger's Revenge and 22nd at Sweet and Creek Brewing. There's another maybe thing on the 15th at Shiloh Community Garden with Juan Holiday, Secret B-Sides. Kind of really excited about that, because that was one of the first bands I was in Asheville. Juan and I have recently started doing some more together as a duo, and then we're going to start the show that way, and then we're going to add a drummer, then we're adding a bass player, and then we're adding a guitar player. So it's going to grow out into a full band through the show.
That's
the way he
cool.
described it to me, at least. Maybe the plans changed, but I loved that idea. I've been playing with Juan for a long time. Beautiful human, killer songwriter and singer.
Yeah, he's a
guitar
cool
player.
dude. I played with him at the funk thing at One World West on Mondays.
Oh,
Have
awesome.
you been over there?
No, I haven't.
It's a cool scene.
Yeah, I'm you were talking about going out versus staying home. I'm a big stay at home
Oh man,
person.
I know it's hard to. I'm with you there.
Yeah.
I played that gig and I was like, oh yeah, I don't need to play more of these sorts of gigs late at night on a Monday.
Yeah, I mean, I would
Middle of
love
the
to
week.
do it. There's great stuff happening, and I do have a little bit of like FOMO about a lot of that. But at the same time, I'm happy to know a lot of the people who don't miss out on it, and I get to play with them still, and not all of them, but I still manage to be connected with a lot of those people through different things. So it works out.
Yeah, that is a balance of the community and going out, networking. But that's a whole other topic. We're
Yeah.
not going to dive into that.
Yeah, let's play some music.
Yeah, let's do it. I don't have any walking off music for. All right, we'll be right back. Oh, wait. And also, if you're tuning in on something that's not YouTube, go to YouTube. Check us out there. That includes you, Instagram, because I'm turning you off. All right, we'll see you in a minute.
Bye.
Oh, yep. Bye. Check, 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 check. Space. Okay, this is my normal voice again. I believe that we just jammed, and it was great. It was very enjoyable. Thank you for coming, Jason Moore. I am Sam Irvin. This has been 8 Note, an Irvin Music Studio production. We'll be back next week, at same time, same place, with another guest, who I'm sure is going to be also great. Yes. Thank you so much for watching, if you did, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Oh my gosh, I say that now. Thanks, and good night.